Bandito Radio 112 FM, a streaming radio station for all toy enthusiasts, collectors, photographers, and customizers. Built to match your mood and passion. Music from hip-hop to country and all the rock in between, with host Howlin' Jim Jackson. For a dose of the macabre, there's Myra's Morgue of Midnight Madness, featuring old-time radio dramas and Action Figure Frequencies, a radio podcast about all aspects of toys and toy collecting, with your hosts, SKN's own Chet Maddox and Alexander Storm. Bandito Radio 112 FM. Available to stream now on Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube.
Good evening to you all. It is another Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here on the Shadow Knows Network. Oh, we got a packed house. We got all four of us here. How about them apples? Vacation's done, all the private meetings, the jet setting. We are here live. Welcome in chat. We got a variety of hot topics to discuss this evening, including some major topics. Amazon and James Bond. Will we see James Bond Prime? Well, one thing's for sure. If the movie sucks, it'll be easy to return the tickets to Whole Foods. Also, Gamerverse Wave, the new Spider-Man Marvel Legends line, figures we wanted or figures that we didn't. We will discuss that. Also, Rob Liefeld is done with Marvel, or did Marvel snap their fingers and eliminate Rob? Lots of other things to talk about. This is Pixels, Plastic, and Ink.
Don't print anything these days.
Well, James Bond, Amazon. I'm really curious what all of yours thoughts are, but welcome on in. First, starting with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Alexander Storm in the house. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great, guys. Doing great. Looking forward to all the topics tonight, man.
Amazing. And then we have Dr. Brantley. How are you, sir?
Very well.
Incredible. Shaken, not stirred, I'm assuming.
Correct. Although
Aha.
it's champagne, so
Okay.
it's not shaken. Tell you that much.
Champagne.
And the man himself, Chet Maddox. How are you this evening, sir?
I am doing well, Mr. Rad. How are you doing this good fine morrow?
I'm doing well. I'm sad that I missed last week's episode, but I'm excited to get back in the action. Before we go any further, hit the subscribe, like, comment. We appreciate you all tuning in. First off, some folks in the chat, sees the director. What's up again? Let's talk about these toys. Oh, we are talking about toys. Scott Simpson.
Toys are the talk.
What's up, Scott? Always coming in, hanging out, man. We appreciate it. We love having you in the chat. So, who else we got in? Oh, we got Meek. We got Meeks in the house. We got Chet Maddox. I don't know. Did you replicate yourself? That's quite interesting. You're live, and then you're also in the chat. So again, feel free, jump in the chat. For those of you who are watching us on YouTube or Rumble, Instagram, or X, we're all over the place. So without further ado, let's get into the main subject of tonight, which is Amazon and James Bond. What does this mean for the franchise? This is big news. I think, my personal opinion, you got the Amazon money here, right? Like, that's unlimited funds.
Just like Comic-Con.
Yeah. That could be also dangerous.
Yeah.
Chet Maddox.
Yeah. I'm excited about this. Hopefully they do exactly what they did with Comixology, because Comixology is a really good platform now. Everyone knows nothing about it, and no one even knows it existed, and that's Amazon's whole purpose. Look, this could potentially be good. However, I smell a lot of like off-branch TV series, some animes come in, some this didn't work, let's try it again in a different way type of shows coming to Amazon Prime, full with Amazon Prime ads, paying for Amazon Prime. I don't know. Maybe they're just going to keep it alive, but I do know that hopefully they actually extend the offer to Idris Elba now for Bond, because that would have been epic. I don't know. I don't really know how I feel. I'm happy there's like funds for it, but that doesn't mean they can do anything good with it.
Look, they've already spent $8 billion to get MGM, another $1 billion to have the creative freedom to use James Bond. They're not going to cheap out now. So I have high hopes, because I think that they will try and get the best creative team they can to start a new Bond series from scratch. Because let's face it, after the last one, there is no James Bond as far as the movies are concerned.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not that optimistic about it, because of the fact that it's Amazon taking the control. Now, Dr. Brittany and I, for Getting Medieval, we jumped into the Amazon version of Lord of the Rings. And Ring of Power, they did okay, but it's not quite, to the Peter Jackson version. I think the reason why it made sense for the Broccoli's and Wilsons to hold on to it is that they really kind of preserved the essence of what Ian Fleming really wanted. And now you're going to have Amazon controlling it. And it's never good when a major corporation takes over something that was well protected. This is why we got as many films in the genre as we did. And I'm just concerned that, Jeff Bezos is going to do this like he runs all of his businesses pretty much into the ground. And the only reason Amazon's not done that, he doesn't run it anymore.
Look, I'm under the belief that when you have a good amount of money backing this, it's always a good sign. That means that you can invest in quality production and special effects, and it really boils down to the creative people involved, regardless of the budget. We know that. We've talked about it, like the Marvel movies and all the stuff, the DC that have failed. They've had funds, so they just got to get creative people involved in it. And I think it starts with, number one is, who is Bond? it's been how many years now, and we still have not solidified who the Bond is. So I'm assuming we will know very shortly. They'll do some big publicity of like, here is the new Bond before they announce anything else. And either people will get excited about that or they won't. I know Idris Elba, and there's a bunch of other people that have been talking to Tom Hardy and all these other English actors. That's what I'm looking forward to. But look, I think stay true to yourself and make a movie first.
Mhm.
I'm not saying they're not going to spin off, as you said, TV series and animation. I'm sure that will come down the line, but start the impact with a motion picture film. Don't go TV series. Don't do all that shenanigan stuff. But I'm looking forward to it. But it's going to really start with who they nominate and cast as Bond.
Well,
Right.
actually, I would say it's not so much the Bond, because one of the people that showed interest a few years ago was Christopher Nolan. So if Christopher Nolan was shepherding the James Bond franchise, I think that would be fine. Let him make these decisions. It's worked out pretty well so far for the last 20 years.
As long as he doesn't write it like Tenet, where you have to watch it 10 times to figure it out. That's the only thing. As long as it's not one of those espionage where you're like, wait, what did Bond do here? Let me stop it, rewind it. What was said? Yeah.
Dr. Brentley brings up a very good point here, though. This may be the only opportunity that we'll see that, because I remember years ago, Steven Spielberg wanted to do a Bond film, and
Right.
they wouldn't allow him to do one. So you may get, because Amazon, a la more of an American company, you may get to see Steven Spielberg get his wish finally done. And wouldn't we all want to see that happen? So they do open up the doors to different directors and, possibly different ways of thinking for the Bond franchise. So that would be a plus.
And one of the things that you alluded to earlier was, there's going to be a bunch of spin-offs and, TV shows and stuff like that. But I think they could make that work for them like it did with Penguin, where, you start with one big screen James Bond adventure, reintroduce it, but then you can set up the villain for the next one. If it's Dr. No, you can have a series of Dr. No that's, maybe 6 episodes or something, but you can create him, do all the backstory so you actually know who this guy is, and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to see him. And then, a couple years later, there's a big screen adventure with that guy. But you have to do it correctly and hire the correct people and, all that kind of thing. But it could work. It also could be very cheap and feel like, oh my God, what the hell are they doing?
Now, would you be in favor of them? Because I like the idea. It'd be cool to see a Dr. No, or even like a super side character like Odd Job or what. But do you think they could go back and remake one?
I think they should. I think they should start from the beginning and do the Ian Fleming. Now, I don't know.
Do you think they should start from the beginning, or do you think they should go and make one in the middle of the series that they could do even better? Like, I think about like a couple of them, like just with the new special effects, how much better they could be.
Like, The Spy Who Loved Me. Yeah. That would be epic.
Amazing. Moonraker. Like, you could do like some of these like really good ones.
Yeah, actually, Moonraker's not bad because the first one was so terrible.
Yes.
That you can only do better, pretty much.
Well,
and then you have the CGI, the special effects, and you could kind of enhance the premise, because it the rough idea was good, but the execution wasn't there. And it didn't have the best Bond in it, so you could go ahead and redo that. So maybe that's it. Instead of trying to like make its own movie. I don't think they'll head that direction, but why not?
Well, I think I'm in the boat with Scott in terms of like going back to the books. I think that'd be cool. If they went through and did that.
Yeah, I would love to see the villains. That'd be super cool. They could do that.
Well, I think they have the one opportunity. Dr. Brentley and I has always said this, where nowadays you want to change a character, change his background, his diversity, and everything else. And this is finally the opportunity where you don't have to use James Bond because there is 006, there is 005. So you can see some of these other agents that aren't Bond that can intertwine between the Bond films for a change. And they'll say that, controversial wise, you have a person of color. Well, now that could be 006, and Idris Elba could have his own scenario, be his own character, and then the fans will see a more immersive James Bond universe.
Yeah.
And you have just the same M that's going to be in the Bond movies and the TV show or whatever else that it is. But yeah, you can do all sorts of spin-offs about the agency, different characters. Because, I mean, imagine like Blofeld, right? You can set him up for a couple of seasons before he's in a movie with James Bond. And then you're like, oh my God, I don't know how James Bond is going to beat this guy. He's really good.
Right.
Just don't do a James Bond multiverse where you have the various Bonds meet up using anti-aging technology.
This is a great device. We're going through universes.
I gotta be honest with you, it would be funny to see like just imagine like Sean Connery, they bring him back from the dead.
Oh yeah, no, we CGI Roger Moore and all these guys back into it.
And like, what's Timothy Dalton doing? Just DH him. He's free. He's not doing anything. Pierce Brosnan would be up for it. I mean, why not? Let's have this epic moment where all 5 Bonds, actually 6, because Lazenby was in the first one. It really didn't count, but yeah, it'd be. I would love to see that. Although it's never going to happen. It's too gimmicky, but. Hey, you know what though? We shouldn't throw that idea out in the universe. Because
they can do a comedy show.
Yeah.
They can do like a spin-off, one-off kind of like a Robot Chicken kind of a thing of James Bond, like making fun, like Robot Chicken James Bond. They can do an episode.
Here's what I'm excited about, and that is the possibility of someone doing a James Bond action figure line.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be us. It'll probably be us over at SKN trying to vie for that license. But now that Amazon has it, I mean, could you imagine get like a Jaws figure, Odd Job?
They've done some bootlegs, knockoff figures. They just recently announced they teased the James Bond hot toy sideshow, but I don't know we don't know what it is. But that I agree with you, man. Chet, that'd be awesome. The vehicles. Yeah, I mean the various Aston Martins, like it. Oh man!
Oh no! The Lotus that goes underwater. Yep, Come on!
Yep.
That's like the first one they do. Yeah,
that'd be incredible. We talk about a comedy. Maybe they just go so crazy that they're like, you know what? We need some creative minds to come in here and just like flip it on its head. Trey Parker and Matt Stone do Bond. What do you all think?
I'm into it.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Chat was like,
have you ever seen the first Casino Royale with Peter Sellers?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy and out there, but it is a James Bond movie. They kind of took the basics, the names, and threw everything else out and tried to make it funny, which I didn't think it was very funny at all, but that's another thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could even do it like there was a couple in the late 80s of like espionage comedy films. Remember one with Val Kilmer was it Top Secret? Was it Top Secret? No, that was
Top Secret is Val Kilmer. Yeah.
Yes, Val Kilmer, where it was kind of like a over the top comedy, but it was also like they could do something.
I love Top Secret.
Yeah, it's so good.
I mean, there are different things you could do with James Bond, like not just the straight adaptations. Like, yeah, you can use this license, and the trick is how far can you go before all of a sudden people are like, oh, that's trash, and I'm not going to bother with it anymore.
Yep. Well, look, we are anticipating hopefully good things and not bad, but the Amazon empire has got a chokehold on the Bond franchise. It is time to move on to the next topic of the evening. And Hasbro has had a bunch of streams lined up. They have another one up and coming very soon with Star Wars. I know our the Sarlacc Digest and Toy Chest will be probably covering that extensively. They recently announced the Transformers HasLab. If you haven't checked the Toybox Chronicles, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. on the channel, Mr. Storm and Chet talked about how fast that quickly sold out. Well, here we go. And this was Marvel's attempt at introducing some figures to the Marvel universe. I think everyone was anticipating Daredevil and or Punisher figures. Everyone was waiting for that as we're weeks away from the series, and unfortunately that did not happen. They may come after the fact. That's what Marvel's typically known for, is like after the show is released. Just like the Deadpool Wolverine movie, you got to wait 6 months before you get those. But here is Gamerverse line Spider-Man 2. This video game's been out for some time, so not net new to the video game world.
2023.
Yeah, 2023. So I think some folks were interested or excited about some of these figures, maybe less about others. But your impression, gentlemen, about this being kind of unexpected to go Gamerverse line route on this last stream?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm with if we want to throw up the CS the director, I think I'm here with this in terms of like the new Venom. It is a new mold. It's 10 inches. So I don't believe that they had, I mean, they didn't have one that was that big. And yeah, I do think it looks a little bit like the movie version. But here's my thing really on Gamerverse, and I did like a breaking story on this one too. I think it's weird, number one, that these aren't only sold at GameStop. And then number two, we were talking about this like privately, and I was messaging back and forth with Rad. I feel like they found a box of fodder parts and just were like, let's make all these Spider-Man and let's just paint them all. And then everyone wanted a Puerto Rican Spider-Man, right? But no. And then like, well, can't all be Spider-Man. So let's do like Black Cat. And then it's like, oh, we could just use this body and this. And the thing that was weird to me is that throughout the thing they were talking about, they said this is just a reuse of this body or that body, and I'm like, all right, I don't really necessarily know if we need any more like Spider-Man. I don't know. I'm kind of burned out, especially because they have Maximum Spider-Man coming. So like, what are we doing here? I don't know. What do you think, Dr. Brindley? I know you don't collect.
Yeah, it is a lot of Spider-Mans. I mean, the black suit Spider-Man is cool.
Yeah.
The Venom one is pretty cool. But I looked at all these other figures and I'm like, well, I would never get any of those. And it is just for people that played the Spider-Man 2 game.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people, but are all those people going to buy action figures? I don't think so.
Yeah. Chet and I talked about this privately. Is that there was a little too much Spider-Man in this wave, and then especially like we totally called this wrong on Toybox Chronicles because we thought it was going to be a setup for them to actually show Maximum Spider-Man and try to get some of the disbelievers out there to see how good this figure is.
Sure proved us wrong.
Yeah, they dropped.
We don't need to show you how shitty our figure is.
And he said, but. And this one, look, cost effectively wise, yeah, it's a smart move. Use the same mold, same body, same situation. The only other difference is, and I don't think we put the Miles Morales version on, which was the 2099.
Yeah, cargo pants.
That one looked a tad bit different. I do like the Kingpin, although he's in a black suit. It's different than him in a white suit, and it's a different molding of his head and everything. Venom is like the outlier that stands out of all this because he's 10 inches high. He's huge. He comes with a whole bunch of other articulated parts and everything else, different heads. So that on its own, made it interesting. Black Cat, again, people play the game. I've played the game a couple of times. I don't know if I seriously needed all of these different versions of characters and everything. And the director actually said most of these figures will end up at Ross this holiday season, out before the holiday, my friend. And they got Iron Man Marvel Legends from the Gameverse Midnight Sunsuit. Yeah, and this is like the Gamerverse. I don't know if that transcends well from game to purchasers. I don't know.
Well,
No.
if it's a cool figure, it will. Like this Venom is going to do extremely well. It'll sell out, right? Anytime you do a Venom in any line, it's going to be pretty popular. Like a Venom movie line, whatever. Like usually Venoms, even on the resale market, do really well. Look, Spider-Man sells the most. It's usually Spider-Man and Wolverine. I know people are tired of seeing all versions of Wolverine and Spidey, but at the end of the day, that's what the kids like. You're going to see that. I don't know if we need another symbiote Spider-Man. Every line is now. We just got a Secret Wars one. We got the retro symbiote Spider-Man. Now we have this line. But look, accessibility, as long as they're available to the kids, they want to buy them, all good. Some of these, the Spirit Spider here is pretty interesting. I like the head sculpt, kind of Ghost Rider-ish, which is cool.
Yeah.
What I think everyone was very excited about is to see the X-Force 2-pack.
Yeah.
But why are we doing pins in
Well, that's what-
2025? Like
that's what I'm
talking.
talking.
Like what is happening here? Like that goes back to your point of like, did we just use old bodies here?
Well, we did. They did. So like that's if you go back one page. So if you go back and look, okay, Kingpin is they literally said it's Mr. Fix-It body just painted black with Kingpin heads. Okay, so you reuse that body. Now if we go back to the X-Force one, this is Omega Red's body just as Warpath. That's why it's pins. This is the problem that I have with this is like the X-23 figure, people will buy this 2-pack and throw Warpath away and keep X-23.
Well, I was going to say,
it's literally,
Warpath is the most ridiculous looking figure I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
like that's going back to some of those like WCW figures where they were just all top heavy, and then they had no legs.
Well, it does. Yeah, it doesn't work because if you look up the Omega Red figure from where they used it, then you can see that this was made for Omega Red and Warpath. I guess I just haven't read a comic with Warpath in a while, but he was not this bulky.
If Liefeld drew him, maybe.
This is like a Liefeld drawing in his year 3.
That's but his chest is that big.
The thing is, we haven't had a X-Force Warpath figure in such a long time, so there was anticipation. I think the number one X-Force figure people want is the Archangel, but like that one exists in that Holy Grail San Diego Comic-Con exclusive pack back in like 2016 or it's I don't even know, it's maybe later. So everyone wants that, like what, because it's crazy to get that on the third party resale market. But if it's gonna look anything like this Warpath, don't bother showing it to us because I'll just go and buy the old one. I think it was an interesting selection of figures here, and I think everyone was hyping, getting hyped about what could come, and it was kind of semi. There's a couple figures people were excited about, but ultimately it did disappoint in this last stream.
When they showed X-23, I was like, yes, I will buy that figure. And then they're like, it comes with Warpath. And I was like, I will have somebody else that wants Warpath go half with me on this, and I will take the X-23. Look,
so that's not happening.
No, I don't. I don't think it's happening. I'm with CS here. Like, I think Venom, Spider-Man, Black Cat, they will sell. I ultimately think this X-Force pack will sell just in anticipation for the next ones that come out. Plus, X-23 is a very sought after figure, regardless of where in the line she's from. Typically, on the resale side, like you can almost double your money for her at times. I was bummed that they put this in a 2-pack. Let's put it that way.
Well, on the resale market, she is going to be huge because no one's going to buy this set.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to want her. So it's going to be worth it to buy the set and then sell her for like $50-$60.
Yeah, it's a rarity that they release a 2-pack nowadays where both figures everyone wants. The Punisher 2-pack with
Oh, the scariest
it's the
looking.
worst
Oh
figure
yeah,
of all time.
Bushmaster, right?
Bu-
What was he?
Bushwhacker,
Bushwhacker.
Bushwhacker.
Yeah,
Like it's like
it was
it's
disturbing.
it's basically holding hostage of the Punisher. You got to go buy the 2-pack. Like no one wants the Bushwhacker. It's like $10, really. Like,
Yeah.
and if you can get someone to pay it, so we'll see how this does. I do like the Venom. I'm excited about that. I'm definitely going to get my hands on the Venom.
But you
Interesting. No
think,
build a figure
uh,
in this line either, which I thought was surprising.
see, you would think that a company this big and that has all these different lines and characters, they would think these things out a little better, anticipate what's coming up, what people are going to be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that people are like, you know what? I only want Spider-Mans. That's it. Nothing else. Spider-Mans. You know, I don't know. They need to be thinking about this a lot better. You have to think into the future a little bit and
Yeah.
what's coming out and what people want, maybe a little nostalgia as well. But I think they're doing a lot of this because they have Wakanda Forever still forever on the shelves, and some of these lines like Eternals still on the shelves, and they're trying to compensate, but I think they're going about it wrong.
Yeah. I think the one thing that I will say is there is some synergy because, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, didn't they release the Spider-Man 2 game on PC just a few weeks ago because you weren't able to play it?
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if there was something like you could only play it on a PS5.
Correct.
So I think maybe I didn't mention it on the stream, but it's just weird timing that they finally released it to PC and then they released the gamer first line. So I don't know if they thought they were going to do that, but it like
'Cause
didn't simultaneous release. I don't know.
That's making waves. Everyone's talking about the PC download version of Spider-Man
That's the only
2,
explanation,
right?
It's like what else would there be? Why randomly are you giving us a game reverse line years?
Now, did they do a Spider-Man 1 game?
Yeah. That was
version of
that?
that? Okay.
that was a very one of the 2018, by the way, Spider-Man 1,
Mhm.
and then Miles Morales, and then
Well, thankfully they don't do DC game reverse lines because some of their recent attempts in the video game and mobile industry did not go well.
Guild
But
of
that's a
Justice League.
story
Oof.
for another
that
day.
was
Build a
bad.
franchise.
Speaking of Warpath and bad drawings, it is Rob Liefeld talk. So let's jump on in. We'll never get him on the show, but
He was never coming on. He was never coming on.
I will give him credit. The man behind Deadpool, and Deadpool has been a powerful force in the Marvel universe, but I think Marvel has not acknowledged that. And one of the reasons why he's very pissed off is that the credit that Stan Lee got along through MCU, Rob did not get the same level of satisfaction, especially leading up through the last installment. And so it sounds like he's pissed off at Disney and now Marvel. Gentlemen, your take on this disagreement he has with now both major companies.
Eh.
I'm gonna let the guys go first because I already know how I'm
Yeah.
gonna take this. So you guys take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's finally being treated like every other comic book creator, and now he's pissed.
Yeah, I look at you. Okay, this is in the same. You can tell. This is what I'm going to say, and it's going to be kind of weird. Okay, you can tell somebody who, pretty much knows they're good, and they don't need to like enforce it on you and pressure you because the Liefeld treatment he's getting with Deadpool is basically the same thing as McFarlane with Venom. So McFarlane, the dude is just pumped to draw Spider-Man. I personally love the way McFarlane draws Spider-Man. I think that Liefeld draws Deadpool okay. He came up with it, but I know so many more other artists that draw Deadpool way better. But I think that if you want to compare, and I was thinking about this a lot today, if you want to compare the situations, like look how McFarlane handles the whole thing with like Venom, and then look how he's handling this thing with Deadpool, and it's like, I don't know. I think there's other things we could complain about personally. I don't know. Storm, what do you think?
All right. Well, here's the point. Yeah, he's never coming on the show because he's about to get his ass burnt right now. It boils down to two things. One, they created Image because they stupidly gave over their creations over to Marvel. Deadpool. Now you notice that whenever they refer to the names of Todd McFarlane and they refer to names of Rob Liefeld, it's always Deadpool and Venom. It's never Youngblood. It's rarely ever Spawn, but he's been trying to push Spawn off for the last 30 damn years. And he keeps saying every time we turn on, there's a new Spawn movie coming. Well, Liefeld makes Todd McFarlane look like he's Elon Musk, the richest person on the planet, because the sheer ounce of stupidity from Rob Liefeld spans decades. But first of all, he doesn't even own Youngblood anymore. So he didn't even learn this lesson about giving Deadpool up. But then he gave Youngblood over to someone else. So he doesn't own his two biggest properties.
I didn't know he gave that over.
Oh, yeah. Somebody
recently.
He sold that. He sold that to somebody. And he was pissed because they had a different way that they wanted to run Youngblood, but you gave it up. So in the process,
why would you be mad?
Without that Spike Lee commercial and the attention that he got from X-Force, if he had done Deadpool as, let's say, an independent character, no one on the face of the planet would know who Deadpool is. But because he was that and Cable and Domino and those characters that he co-created with Louise Simonson and Fabian Nicieza, and the same thing, Todd McFarlane, David Michelin, is also the co-creator of Venom. But they get the bulk of the information while the credit while the other people don't. But then you're mad at well, they didn't really listen to me. Well, who the hell are you? You sold your characters over to them. You're an employee. You work for hire. And you have been the only one that has jumped back over to work for him. You don't see Jim Lee calling up hey, man, I want to do the X-Men. Todd McFarlane has not done Spider-Man since he walked off that book. He said, damn straight he's not doing it. He'll do a Spider-Man figure because it's on his own terms. Mm-hmm. But he's not drawing it. So in the long run, you're complaining exactly like Dr. Bentley said. You're treated like every disposable comic creator that's out there because you made yourself disposable. It wasn't like, again, look, you see Mike Mignola like, oh, damn, Dark Horse, they're getting rid of Hellboy. No, he owns that. He takes that property over and somebody else is benefiting.
He can make as many shitty movies as he wants to.
He's like, if there's a shitty movie being made, I'm going to make it.
I'm going to make it. But
Same thing with McFarlane. Spawn, I'm making the shitty movie. Nobody else.
This is what happens when you hold on. Look, we've said this numerous times. This is the aspect. You're going to suffer if you're an independent artist, whether you're independent car maker, whatever you do independently out of the mainstream of it, you're going to suffer. You'll be the Tuckers or you'll be the Mike Mignolas of the world, and maybe your character blows up. You could also, you could look at there's other examples of people that held on to their creations. Bill England and the Tick. Dave Sims. So there's a lot of ways that you're not going to benefit, but don't cry and get upset and talk about Marvel's wrong. It's just like you knew what Marvel did. They screwed over thousands of creators. What made you think that you were going to be different on this? You had the Winter Soldier guys couldn't even get into the party. So then Rob Liefeld says, I could get into the party. Well, they've done this before. Why are you shocked with it? So do some growing up. Why don't you spend some time, one, perfecting your craft a little bit better. Two is perfecting your business model. And three is stop complaining and draw.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize that he didn't own the rights to Youngblood since the 90s.
He did it again. And so when somebody does a Youngblood movie and it blows up and they don't invite him to the premiere, he'll be doing the same thing.
But what's more shocking than him selling is who bought it. Is that to me is like who bought Youngblood?
And There you go.
They are.
Who
Well,
did
says it all.
buy Youngbloods?
It's another comic company, and he wanted to do the relaunch, and he was pissed because they went a different direction. But it's like, if good creators do this one thing, you don't just have one character. If you're a one hit wonder, fine, make that LP, let it sit on the pop charts and collect your money, and don't be pissed every time you go to a road show and they say play that one song. Well, for him, it's like, let's be honest, create something better than Deadpool. You got nothing but time. Come up with something else and
Yeah.
make your money, man.
And you don't have to worry about the daily grind to make, oh, I got to pay my rent. No, you're fine. You got nothing but time to create entire worlds, anything you want, and you can back it yourself if
Yeah.
you wanted to. But yeah, it's like if Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson,
Yep.
they better not say shit about how the James Bonds are going forward, because they got paid $1 billion.
But they were compensated. They
Yeah.
were well compensated for it. That's the problem.
Because they knew to hold on to it for all this time.
And Scott Simpson says this: when DC did Batman again, they sent Neil Adams a check for $100,000 to thank him for creating Ra's al Ghul. Because you know why? Because Neil, Neil was one of those guys that he fought for Simon and Schuster in order to get their rights when Superman the movie came out. Look, that wasn't a man that you trifled with, but obviously Marvel's like, Rob Liefeld's the guy that we do this to.
Well, also like Marvel, if he ever came at them, they would just be like, "You really want to argue with us? Check out this Captain America you drew."
Yeah, yeah. And he redid it too.
Yeah.
He redid because he did Sam Wilson's version of it in the same way that he did it. It's like, it's a shame that this has happened, but this is a moment for everyone out there that's watching the show. Understand this: you're going to suffer if you're going to be an independent creator. You're probably not going to get the accolades, but you hold on to it when it becomes valuable. But when you give it away to somebody, then pay your ticket, sit in the movie, and don't expect to go to the after party. Very simple.
That's true. Well, I don't feel bad for Rob Liefeld, and probably none of us in the chat do.
No.
But let there be a learned lesson to all creators. Even the top names, you could just be brushed aside by the big corporations. And never sell unless you're George Lucas, and well, then you can get money that will wipe away.
You can sell high.
Tears.
You buy low.
No.
You sell high.
Let's be clear. You could sell if you pulled George Lucas, because he sold but kept rights to licensing, and like that's fine.
Yeah.
No, he sold the whole thing, but
now he did.
But he has $4 billion.
That's what I'm saying. A little bit different. But either way, that concludes the Rob Liefeld talk, because I was so excited to talk about Rob himself. And before we go any further, subscribe, like, drop a comment. We appreciate you all in the chat viewing us today here on the Shadow Nose Network. And without further ado, well, you all know what time it is, and that is SKN News.
That's right. From your world to our world, SKN News begins tonight, and we've got something. Speaking of somebody that gave up a character, Mr. Bob Kane's creation is coming back to the forefront. That is right. I don't know about you, but let's get it started off with Batman's getting a new #1 again. Here's the biggest trope that's gone in comics, but we'll hit this. As revealed at the Comic Pros retailer event, a new volume of Batman will be written by Matt Fraction, Uncanny X-Men, Invincible Iron Man, and then also current Batman artist Jorge Jimenez is remaining on board. Though, as mentioned, he and Fraction have designed a new costume, a new Batmobile to ring in their series. And Batman is trading in his black and gray suit for a more vintage-inspired blue and gray costume. This Batman book will be released in September after the Jim Lee Hush 2 run. The question comes emerging, gentlemen, why do they need to keep just other than a sales gimmick, redoing number ones and starting Batman again? And why does this keep happening in comics?
Sales gimmick. We're losing our asses selling books because we're not selling books. Hey, we just had Absolute Batman. Let's start another Batman number one. This is when they're out of ideas. They go back to let's start it again. Let's start a number one. People always buy a number one.
Yeah,
that's absolutely.
Well, Batman is the equivalent of Spider-Man in the Marvel universe, which is we just got done talking about toys. When in doubt, pump up a bunch of Spideys because hopefully they'll sell. The same thing as it relates to comic books and the various Spider-Mans, various Spider-Man animated TV shows. Batman gets the same treatment. So holy shit, we need to make money. Let's go make a bunch of Batman reboot movies and TV shows and comic books and toys, etc. And here we are again with another number one.
Yeah, it's like look, I don't mind that you have, look, I think Matt Fraction is a very good writer. He also did the, I'm trying to remember, the Monsterverse show on Apple. That was the Godzilla. I can't remember the name at the moment, but it was a well-written series, very well done. Matt Fraction does work extremely well. I don't mind, that they're, new creative artists. There's somebody who wants to take the bat suit, do something different. But I think that when it's fallen into comics, when you constantly keep jumping and restarting, you killing one of the legacy issues of some of these good books that for decades were around and did well beyond it. But now they're gonna do that. And yes, Quicker Smile, actually, Monarch, you're right. Yeah, Legacy of Monsters. Great show that he did. And Scott Simpson says this, where it says it's a refresh from the previous run, but I agree we don't need a number one. No, it's like I think this is why they're hurting the American comic scene, is that the legacy is being taken out, and it's just, well, here's a new number one, because most people don't know how to read books without a number one. That's incomplete. You built decades of that, and you want to hold on to that legacy. And I think Dr. Brentley and I was talking about the same thing about the Absolute Batman number one. You could have just done that and had Bruce Wayne lose his money and, had to be a steel worker. And you could have done that same storyline in the compounds of a, standard run, instead of just coming up with this book, that book, this book, and confusing any new readers that walk in the shop when you see 5 Batman number ones.
Yeah. I like the suit. The suit's cool.
Yeah, I think this is a great artist. He's a fantastic artist. He does Batman well. And one thing that works for this, and I've got a rumor because somebody hit me up earlier today, like, hey man, I know what Matt's going to do on this book. They're going to be all one issue, self-contained stories. So they're going back to the original way they used to tell comic books. So anybody that can walk off the street can pick up an issue and probably not get lost in that. But a number one, it doesn't need to. And see the director, we saw your response. We're going to get to it after we get through SKN News. But from there, again, I'll look, hate to say this, but I love the artwork. I love Matt Fraction. I'm probably going to pick up the book, but I wish they hold on a little bit more of the legacy.
I will say, though, that guaranteed DC will go back to the original numbering when it's a big issue, like 1100. Yeah, that's going to be, the old numbing. But anyway.
Yeah, Smile did say that as long as we don't get the bad thing, I'm okay with it. Hey, don't tempt him. Don't tempt him. Jumping over to our next news item and everything. Now, this is the one that was brought to us by the mighty collector known as Rad down below. He pointed this out today because he woke up. Well, he woke me up because I was, I sleep late. But we had Chet Maddox was already up on the keyboards trying to get this. But you've got the 2 versions. Look, as much as we give Todd some crap about some things, he has been like pulling it through with this Batman license. I think he's done some of the best Bat vehicles that's ever been put on the market. And from this one, from McFarlane Toys, available today, is the Batman Theatrical Wave 2. You've got Batman 89. If people don't know who that is, that's Michael Keaton in that role, not the Flash, the 1989 movie that started off the whole big comic book revivals. And then you've got you basically Batman Begins, and they're both 7-inch scale, but they're not 7-inch because they're more like 6. I don't know why they say the 7. They don't actually are 7, but whatever. Maybe the ears are up an extra inch. But if you didn't have a rad in your life to get you up in the morning and say you better charge this, and you went over to Big Bad Toy Store, it's gone. If you went over to Amazon, it's gone. Our affiliate, Entertainment Earth, which we have an SKN Entertainment Earth discount code, PPI Cast, for anything that's in stock. Guess what? You're going to have to wait till they get it back in the stock because it's not in there. But if you go over to GameStop and cross your fingers, he's up at GameStop. So which one of the crew ordered this character today?
I'm checking right now. It is in stock at GameStop.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
It is in stock at Best Buy.
I got both of them. I mean, look, as you said, Mr. Storm, we've given Mr. McFarlane a lot of shit over the past couple of years, and I'm not saying all the figures that have come out are great or highly articulate and all that stuff. I mean, Marvel Legends have been killing it, and the G.I. Joe line, Hasbro has had the leg up on McFarlane for some time, and a lot of McFarlane shit hits clearance and ollies, all of that. But I think recently, outside of the selection of figures coming to market, has been the vehicles, the Batwings, the Batmobiles, really quality stuff. The retro lines are cool, and now he's producing figures we want. We wanted the Christopher Reeve Superman. We got 2 versions of that. We wanted Batman 89. We want the Batman Begins. I would say, like, give us more Heath Ledger. Put that. We want these figures. People will pay. They will buy. That's what we want. So I'm glad that even like the old Batman Return stuff, it didn't sell as well, but I love seeing Jim Carrey Riddler figure coming out, and the DeVito Penguin. Like, you're giving the fans what they want, not these oddball ass characters from the DC, like embedded in books. If you were only a comic book fan that no one really has any interest in, this is the stuff we want. And guess what? $23.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yep.
Whoa,
Yeah,
if you got a GameStop pass, it's $21.
$21.
Ooh.
$21 for a Michael Keaton Batman. It looks kind of cool. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
So next is Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the other DC movies are kind of trash for what they're doing with this kind of a line. Are you going to do Jonah Hex, Josh Brolin?
Oh,
they did release a Jonah Hex recently, not based off the movie, but the Jonah Hex is cool with the horse.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but not cool. Based on the movie.
No, they would never. That did not exist. Just like some of the X-Men movies that did not exist.
And we'll say this too: the Customizer Supreme, he ordered one, so that's telling you how good Uncle Todd's doing. And see the director, he said he went over, he got the Batman
Scarecrow.
Begins and the Scarecrow at Target. So that's pretty good too. But no, when you look at this, look, as much crap as we're going to give, I thought he did one of even the Flash Batman with the unmasked version. I thought he did one of the best Michael Keaton renditions of Batman, maybe close, not as close as Hot Toys, but the look it looked like Michael Keaton. There you go. Yeah. And again, he's killing it on vehicles. We're not just blasphemous people that lie. There's a whole bunch of bad vehicles that sit right up there from Uncle Todd himself. And I will be sending this over to Mr. Ched Maddox. This came in the mail today. So,
nice.
We don't we give professionals to do our reviews. We don't try them ourselves. We send it to the masters over there, Rad and Ched Maddox do it better than anyone else. So we'll send that stuff over to them. But if you're still looking at it, thank you, Mr. Ched Maddox. He let you know they're still up at GameStop. Say your prayers, because GameStop sometimes, as C, the director, pointed us out on Wednesday, sometimes drop those orders and you never really get them. So if you're looking for them, I would recommend both of these characters, and it's got the rad approval, so that's always 100% gold. So from there, we'll jump over to, and this one is, look, we've been fairly kind of positive except for Rob Liefeld. So we got to go real true for this. But guess what? A big time corporation, Hasbro, stock climbed upward. Wow. Wall Street rewards Hasbro today for cutting stocks and reducing inventory in 2024. Investors also signaled that they are optimistic about the toy maker's latest game plan, which includes emphasis on digital gaming and creating more products for teens and adults. Stock was up more than 12% at midday after the company's first quarter and their full year earnings release and the conference call with investors. Now, let's point this out. Hasbro also cut an additional $250 million after the last quarterly earnings report that the company announced. Allah, let's wait for this. Layoffs that hit 100 workers, and they are planning to move from Rhode Island to possibly the Boston area. Now, they do own their headquarters in Rhode Island, and so far it's been up and down if they're going to make that move. But I'm sure if they make that move, existing employees that live in Rhode Island probably will not make that trek to Boston for this. So I've heard this term before over the internet. Chet Maddox has said this. Is Hasbro just being Hasbro? What do you guys think about there? And does anybody own any Hasbro stock? Because you probably will be the only ones happy from this.
I don't, but I should because of all the shit that I own from Hasbro and all the stuff I've collected. I mean, I don't know what to say. I think at the end of the day, good for them. Sad for the employees who the jobs were cut, but I think it's the nature of the economy right now, and we'll see it. We'll see how the toy industry survives over the next couple of years because it's probably going to be pretty tough with expenditures and entertainment stuff. But I wish Hasbro the best because I think that influences the entire toy from independent toy industry. As long as Hasbro's doing well, McFarlane, all that, that's what we hope for. So, not much else I can say, but feel bad for the folks that were let go.
Here's the thing that got me is they're saying an emphasis on creating more products for teens and adults because, God forbid, why would a toy company make toys for children? That's just stupid.
Yeah,
that's why you're not running the company, Doctor.
Yep.
For God's sake.
That's why I'm not, deciding to move to some place that is way overcrowded and more expensive than my Rhode Island place that I already have. But hey,
to be fair, you live in California, which is overcrowded and the most expensive.
I see it differently. There's plenty of space. Sometimes you're just right up on each other, but there's plenty of empty space. Go to the desert.
Yeah, he's absolutely right about that. The Leo Kaiser Transformer got funded, and the $50 Spider-Man sold out to help those stock this week. You're right; it just pushed it right up.
That's right.
He's absolutely right. And look, as much as we want to say it's the corporation is going to do what they're going to do, but unfortunately, there are real people that's involved in these scenarios. And whenever they say they made profits, usually it's at the cost of the worker. And there's 100 people that lost their jobs for them to push the stock up 12% for fat cats that's actually ordered that stuff in order to basically subsidize their wealth. And look, the toy industry is what it is. I think when you are making your decisions on what to purchase from, nothing's wrong with purchasing from Hasbro, but also spread that dollar out to the independent creators and artists that are out here that are trying to build communities within their companies. And there's guys out here that are small in nature, but they're doing great stuff. So if you want to show Hasbro that in the Mattels and the NECAs that their behavior is not justified, stop giving them as much money and start putting that down in. And your dollars speak for your point. So, Mr. Maddox, I know you want to say something about this, so you can go ahead. Give it to him, Mr. Maddox.
Yeah.
Yeah, give it to him.
Look it. Read the fucking room. When you have articles that are literally talking about how many people you laid off, and then you release an article that Hasbro is their own self that buys up everybody else. And Hasbro owns like Parker Brothers and a bunch of other things that used to exist that were good, and then they bought it and got rid of it. Look, again, I think Hasbro is a driving force for the industry that we love. I think that they're fantastic. I think that they do what they need to do. Just don't be naive in the fact that you think that they're doing it for the fans all the time, because they really aren't. It's obvious based on fan streams and everything like that. However, that being said, I think with the toy industry where it is now, with people like our partners over at Odd Frog Entertainment and Crooked Smiles that do the customs, and then Odd Frog doing, producing the Bandito, which you can buy right now, by the way, if anyone wants to do that. Look, I think that they are realizing that they're going to have to step it up. But I think that things like this, where they get rewarded for cutting costs when you know directly that the costs were cut by letting people go. Speaking from personal experience, being cut and letting go, and then the company getting well into the six figures back in stock for me, it's kind of like, yeah, look, they're going to keep producing figures. The problem is that you have like Operation Monster Force, you have all these other, you have Four Horsemen, again, Odd Frog with the Bandito just starting out with the action vehicles. You have a lot of really good up and coming development houses and independent action figures, and I think that that's ultimately going to drive the sale. And I'm going to be completely honest about McFarlane. And here's the thing about McFarlane. If you look at what he's doing with the vehicles, he's hitting it out of the park.
Mhm.
All he has to do is adjust the weight of his figures so that they balance and they can stand on their own at times. And you're going to have somebody that becomes a true powerhouse. And I think that, look, again, people were sleeping on this. This Hasbro goes with this Diamond thing, where Diamond declared bankruptcy and people are putting bids in. And if you don't see Hasbro put a bid in, then that means that they think that they're bigger than they are. And if somebody like McFarlane can get the Diamond distribution, they get the licensing for all the Diamond Select figures. They get the licensing for anything that Diamond has, which is like Lord of the Rings and everything else. And so, and then also Diamond also owns some of the best molds ever for some of the figures. So look, it's not everything that gets massive has a tendency to fail when they forget where they came from. So I'm excited that Hasbro is not cutting toys. They never said that. They said that they were moving into something else. There was a lot of like rumor mill shit happening on YouTube, and people were just taking it because the people saying it had massive followings. But I'm happy to see this, and hopefully we can see something like this in the future for Hasbro, where they're not cutting employees and cutting the staff, because I think that is truly, when you get to the point where you don't have to cut staff and you make the profit, then you're truly doing well, versus cutting the staff 3 months ahead of time, holding on to their stuff so they don't report a loss to then report like a positive. And it's good to see that the stock went up instead of down, because that says that they did report other things that are well. And I would encourage anybody here, I know we're toy collectors or whatever, I would really encourage you to jump in one time on earnings calls for companies that you actually want to know what's going on with that, because it just makes you knowledgeable so you can understand things that are happening.
Yeah, and Crooked Smile pointed out that the stock was at 67, but it did drop by the end of the day, $1.50.
Yeah,
So,
the whole market was disastrously down though, so that doesn't tell you much.
Yeah.
It's down like
Surprised.
700 points.
But I will say one thing, and I didn't think about this until Chet said it, is McFarlane should swoop in and take over Diamond and take over the comic distribution and the Select and all the things that it used to do. Being a comic book person, he might actually be able to make it a positive change and something that can release independent books and get that out like he intended 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
the
anybody to
book-
rescue that damn Hulk Select figure that needs to be continued in production. Hey, if someone's gonna acquire the Diamond distributor and you take on the Marvel Select figure line, change the fucking packaging.
Yeah.
Would you? Like the bubble, like there's no mint figures out there in box. So
I have
if
one.
someone's gonna do that,
And
get
see,
rid
the
of the
director
old
did the
books.
math for us. At $50 Spider-Man times 5,000, fan has $250,000 just for one figure. Yet McFarlane is puts out a 70s figure for less and says that every time. And look, he's right. McFarlane is one of those things that, again, we like to joke and we like to laugh, but we all respect Todd and what he's done for the toy community. And there is a rumor that has been going on, and it's back and forth. A couple people in the toy industry told us that he has been keeping his eye on the Marvel Selects side of it. He doesn't want the distribution version of it for comics, but he does. He's looked at the toys and everything else and the fine statues that they do, and that would be another arm a la Sideshow that actually McFarlane could do as well. So, we'll have to see where that goes. But you know what, gentlemen? With that, that's the end of SKN News for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Storm. As always, talking toys, talking pop culture, comic books. That's what we do here every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. So we appreciate you tuning in. We got some key updates. First off, if you haven't seen the screen, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here on this channel, is the Toybox Chronicles. So to get your action figure and collectible needs, they do a great job in digging in even a bit deeper on those things. So we give you a little hint on the Friday show, but it's all about it on the Wednesday show. So just promoting that. And then again, lots of other cool content on the channel as well. Even the back catalog of stuff, the best of series, force rankings. We've done it all. Gentlemen, I know we got some other exciting announcements around some of our brother networks, and then also some up and coming events and launches. What is the news?
Yes, sir. Well, as always, no, Toybox Chronicles, we've got on March the 5th, Wednesday, at 7 p.m. and Pacific and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to do a double cast with our buddies over at the Skeleton Tomb. And that's going to be Scully and Deadman Juan, hour number 1 over there at 6 p.m. And then hour number 2, all of us are jumping over to Toybox Chronicles here on the mighty SKN. And we're going to do the second hour. And Chet and myself just hit over our buddies over at Odd Frog Entertainment and Bandito Radio, Action Figure Frequencies, Episode 2 with some of the best. If you haven't been over to Bandito Radio, you're really missing out because, first of all, one, music extraordinaire, an artist, and like God knows, jet flying, champagne drinking, other than Dr. Brentley. And if you want to know the most advanced human being on the face of the planet, more advanced than you are, and more advanced than us, Chet Maddox actually has actual original music that he's written, produced, and everything. This man is like, not only is he doing toys, this guy's like, he's like a music producer. We got a Pharrell Williams sitting right back here for us right here. But you want to tell us about the music that's over on Bandito Radio, bro?
Yeah, man. I don't think anyone knew that I was going to put that out. That's out on Bandito Radio right now. It's called Southern Scars, and the album's called Invisible. You can check it out and listen to it. But it was something that I was working on. It's only 6 songs, but you're more than welcome to listen to all of them. But it was cool to hear it on Bandito Radio. I got a message from Kelly like, "Hey, did you happen to put this up?" And I was like, "Yeah." Sorry, I didn't tell anybody. And he's like, "Cool, I'm going to use it." I was like, "Great, sounds good, man." Yeah. So he said, right now it's the sexiest country music on Bandito Radio. That is correct. Yes, it definitely is. But yeah, no, look, hey, we got a lot going on. There's I'm working on another album and some extensions of that album, and I'm just trying to produce as much as I can for Bandito Radio, because if I could get like a whole block where it's just me, then no, I'm just kidding. Look, Bandito Radio is awesome. It's fantastic. The guys over at Odd Frog Entertainment are doing a fantastic job. I'm excited to eventually get my hands on the Bandito for pictures, and there are some pictures of it starting to pop up from other photographers, and I know we want to get the Bandito into Johnny's hands as well. So look, we're also going to be in Toylanta at the end of the month. We are Mr. Storm and myself are going to be driving out, not because we don't want to fly, but because it's better to make content when you're driving, and you both don't need to pay attention. So we're going to be doing that, and we're going to be having a lot of fun doing that, and we'll be at Toylanta at a booth with Odd Frog Entertainment and Mr. Vonner himself. So we're excited for that. We'll be actually doing live action figure frequencies. So will not be Toybox Chronicles. It will be action figure frequencies. And finally, starting this weekend, probably Sunday, hopefully, if things go well, we will be launching our new line of merchandise, a little bit narrowed down, a little bit easier to find, with some cool things involved in it. We're really excited about it. So stay tuned for that.
And just to cut it in from that, make sure we got a Discord. We got guys who's busting their behind the scenes, and a lot of people are. And the Discord's up. And if you want to get a better sense of community, join the Discord. Mr. Maddox will let you know that it's probably one of the best Discords that's ever been invented. And we're not just saying that for hyperbole. We know it's the best because we do everything the best. So make sure you're checking that out. And I want to just throw this in. If you're out there, we got KS Collectibles, Richard's a member of the Shadow Nose Network, SKN. Make sure you're stopping over at, KS underscore collectibles.com and make sure you're picking up your toys. Check out Rad Insight over at Whatnot, who does some of the best damn Whatnot shows. And
that's this guy.
Yeah, that guy's he's killing it over there. If you want to know about figures and have a good time for a couple of hours, watch his streams. Dr. Brentley's Collectibles over on eBay.
That's this guy.
He's out there hustling. He's giving us all the kind of stuff that we need. And then also Chet Maddox, you can catch him on Whatnot, eBay, God knows. So make sure you actually, if you're looking for something,
he's everywhere.
Check out our guys. Make sure you actually give into the community. All their dollars go back to them, not us. It goes back to them.
Actually, too, I want to point out too. Before I actually do my next Whatnot show, I will be heading over to KS Collectibles to help out with the first ever live show of KS Collectibles on Whatnot, because I feel like that is something that is going to be fantastic. So there is a high probability that I may move to selling my stuff on the KS Collectible one. If you haven't seen it, it is a giant toy store, and we're excited about it. And Richard has some great things. He's a wealth of knowledge. And it's just more effective with that size to have two people or more to be able to pay attention to what's going on. So I'm really excited about that. Richard found out about it right now, so you're welcome. And back to you, Storm.
Hey, I just want to say it's really important for anybody that purchases anything through my mystery shows on Whatnot. A small percentage of the proceeds goes to buy myself a Bandito fund. So I just want to let you know, if you care about me, it goes to that fund. All right, gentlemen. Lots of fun stuff happening in the world of Shadow Nose Network. Again, we always appreciate you all hanging out every Friday. Tell a friend, tell a family member, spread the love. We love supporting this community. And we're excited to see some of you in person. Otherwise, we'll see you here every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Stay cool. See you later.
And I do just want to say real quick, Mr. Bezos, Mr. Storm, Mr. Brantley have a library of stuff that will go for well under $1 billion. I would even go and say 100 million would be acceptable, don't you think? 50 each? I mean,
I'm good on that.
I'm just saying
because he's listening. I'm
yes.
glad you.
Yes,
glad you
of course
that.
he is.
Yes.
Who?
Incoming transmission.
There's a new show headed to Bandito Radio. Action Figure Frequencies with your hosts, Chet Maddox and Alexander Storm. All the talk on action figures you crave. Only on 112 FM Bandito Radio.